Disclaimer caution. This is a story generated by AI hallucination. At this point, it is a work of fiction and has no relation to actual persons, organizations, nations, or events. The Dawn of Two Chinas. Or, The $1 Trillion Invoice and the Secret Pact of the Eagle and the Dragon. Chapter 1, The Deal Maker and the Verification of History. Late Autumn, 2025. Washington, D.C., the White House. The setting sun streaming through the windows of the Oval Office cast long shadows across the thick carpet. The master of the room, U.S. President Donald J. Trump, toyed with his favorite can of Diet Coke while assessing the petite Japanese woman before him. Takaichi, Prime Minister of Japan. Clad in a black pantsuit, she clutched a thick file bristling with sticky notes. Her eyes held the pure determination of a student preparing to fight using knowledge gained from history books as her weapon. Mr. President, I will speak frankly. I want to talk about Taiwan. Takaichi began with a serene voice. Trump leaned back, exaggerating a shrug. Taiwan? Yeah, I know it. The semiconductor island. But that's part of Big China, right? Xi always says so. I have a fantastic relationship with him. Very tough, but we make fair deals. No, Donald. That is incorrect. Takaichi interrupted him, spreading her file onto the desk. A historical treaty text, highlighted with markers, lay exposed. Please look at the history. For the 50 years between 1895 and 1945, Taiwan was governed by Japan. It was formally ceded in the Treaty of Shimonoseki following the First Sino-Japanese War. After World War II, Japan renounced its rights, but the PRC, People's Republic of China, has not governed Taiwan for even a single second in history. Trump raised an eyebrow and slammed his Coke can down on the desk. Japan ruled it for 50 years? That's the first I've heard of it. Xi told me, Taiwan has belonged to China since ancient times. Was he lying? He looked at Takaichi with suspicion, then immediately smashed a button on his desk, shouting for his aide. Hey! Get in here, now! The door opened, and a young aide holding a tablet rushed in, flustered. Trump pointed at Takaichi and spoke rapidly. She says Japan held Taiwan for 50 years. Is that true? Look it up right now. This better not be fake news. Pale-faced, the aide deftly operated the terminal. Silence filled the room. Takaichi waited, back straightened quietly. She was confident that historical facts could not be shaken. Seconds later, the aide looked up, nodding in surprise. It is a fact, Mr. President. From 1895 to 1945. It was under Japanese administration. Infrastructure development and education were also conducted. It is a historical fact. Trump's eyes widened, then took on a boyish gleam. Wow! It was true. That guy's eye, he kept his mouth shut about this. He dismissed the aide, grinned, and turned back to Takaichi. Okay, Sunny. You win. Facts are important. I'm a businessman. I respect numbers and facts. He stood up and began pacing the room excitedly. Japan held it for 50 years. Meaning, Taiwan is distinct from the mainland, PRC. It's a completely different property. Hey, we can use this. This is huge leverage. Chapter 2, The Double China Concept. Takaichi pressed her advantage. Mr. President, I have a proposal. A shift to a two Chinas policy. Just like East and West Germany in the past, or North and South Korea today, we acknowledge their parallel existence. We recognize Taiwan as a state and restore it to the United Nations. This is the road map to true peace in Asia. Trump smirked. It was not the smile of a pacifist, but of a real estate tycoon who had found a prize. Ha ha ha. That's the best. Two Chinas. Marketing-wise, it's brilliant. Like Coca-Cola and Diet Coke. Consumers love a choice. Xi is going to be furious. But that's good. It makes our negotiating card stronger. He walked over to Takaichi and gripped her hand firmly. Sunny, you are smart. Let's change history together. I'll make a speech at the UN. Make Taiwan great again. Japan will support you with unshakable resolve. Takaichi's chest swelled with emotion. Her historical perspective had moved the most powerful man in the world. Chapter 3, Frenzy and Calculation. Several months later, UN headquarters, New York. Trump's speech shook the world. The Trumpism of why only recognize one China? The fact is there are two. Spread instantly across social media. While the Chinese delegation kicked over their chairs and stormed out, the Taiwanese representatives wept tears of gratitude. At the victory party in the White House, Trump was in high spirits. Did you see that, Sunny? The whole world is talking about us. Taiwan's UN membership is only a matter of time. Yes, it feels like a dream. With this, the security environment in Asia will improve dramatically. Takaichi tipped her champagne glass, breathing a sigh of relief. Then, Trump suddenly turned serious and lowered his voice. But listen, Sunny. China is genuinely angry. They aren't a paper tiger. They're going to send warships. Yes, I am aware. Japan is also prepared to strengthen its defense capabilities and protect the peace of the Taiwan Strait. Fantastic. If you have the resolve, you need the tools. Trump signaled to an aide behind him. Bring me the coolest catalog. Chapter 4, The Golden Invoice and the Rebellion of Kasumgaisky. 1 week later, Prime Minister's official residence, Japan. A personal and confidential document from the U.S. State Department arrived at Sani Takaichi's office. Titled Memorandum Regarding Future Japan U.S. Joint Defense and Taiwan Defense Support, the document bore Trump's signature alongside numbers that made one's eyes pop out. F-35 Lightning II, Special Custom Version, 200 units. Tomahawk Block V, Mass Procurement, 5,000 rounds. Integrated Air Defense Missile System, Trump Tower Class, Nationwide Deployment. Consulting fee, the Trump Organization, priceless. Total, approximately 150 trillion yen. It easily exceeded Japan's entire national budget. Takaichi's hands trembled. She hurriedly connected via hotline to the White House. Mr. President. What on earth is this? The digits are wrong. We don't have this kind of budget anywhere. Through the receiver, Trump's cheerful voice resonated. What are you saying, Sunny? This is the price of freedom. It's cheap, actually. You want to make Taiwan independent, right? You're picking a fight with Xi. You can't win without the best weapons. My friends in the military-industrial complex cleared their production lines specifically for Japan. You should be grateful. But this will bankrupt the Japanese economy. No, no. Change your mindset. This is an investment. Even if Japan goes bankrupt, we'll protect you. That's what an alliance is, right? Anyway, I'll take payment in dollars. Deal closed. Click. The call was cut. The next day. Tokyo, Kasumgaisky. Deep underground in the Ministry of Finance. Amidst a cloud of cigarette smoke, the strongest bureaucrats, including the administrative vice minister, had their heads together. Impossible. There is no way we can pay this conventionally. Japan will go bust, the vice minister groaned. However, if we refuse, he'll threaten to scrap the alliance. Trump is serious. Just then, the director of the International Bureau adjusted his glasses, a daring smile floating on his lips. Vice Minister, I have a scheme. Trump is loud about numbers, but he is ignorant of financial engineering. We strike there. His proposal was this: pay a portion of the debt not in dollars, but in a newly established digital bond by Japan called the East Asia Stabilization Fund, EASF. On the surface, this is funding for the defense of Taiwan, but behind the scenes, it cleverly incorporates a trade settlement route with China. Yuan swap. We will whisper to Trump that in the future, this will be like an Asian Bitcoin, worth more than the dollar. However, in reality, the more these bonds are issued, the more they will be absorbed into the Chinese economic sphere by market principles, and the real value of the amount paid will crash. In other words, we hand America waste paper, While fulfilling our obligation on the books, the vice minister slapped his knee. Fighting poison with poison, is it? Utilizing China's economic power to nullify the debt to America. Not bad. It's genius. They were overconfident in their own intellects, never knowing that this scheme had been induced by someone from the very beginning. Chapter 5, The Red Black Hole. 1 month later, the Japanese government loudly declared the issuance of ISF bonds and made the first payment to Trump. Trump accepted it surprisingly easily, saying, "Digital money, huh? Very state-of-the-art." The bureaucrats raised a toast. "We won. The national treasury is safe." But that night, an anomaly occurred in the global financial markets. The issued ISF bonds began to be bought up instantly by unidentified investment funds. The funds, routed through Hong Kong, Shanghai, and Singapore, possessed a suction force like a black hole. What is happening? The monitors at the Ministry of Finance flashed red. Contrary to Japan's intent, Japan's foreign currency reserves, the precious dollars backing the bonds, began to flow out at a furious pace. The destination was not America. It was the administrative accounts of the People's Bank of China. There is a backdoor in the system. This algorithm. It was designed to siphon off our funds from the start. Impossible. We ordered this program from a trusted American consulting firm. Japan's wealth was being sucked into Beijing with a roar. The counterattack of the bureaucrats turned into a total blood transfusion of the Japanese economy in a mere few hours. Chapter 6, The Secret Pact of Mar-a-Lago. At the same time, Mar-a-Lago, Florida. Trump, in a luxurious private room, held a secure line phone. The person on the other end was Xi Jinping, in Zhongnanhai, Beijing. "Hey, Xi. How's it going? Did Japan's smart bureaucrats make their move?" Trump downed his Diet Coke in high spirits. From the other side of the phone, a low, composed laugh could be heard. "Yes, Donald. Just as you read. They tried to cheat the payment and jumped right into the trap. That financial program we prepared. 30% of Japan's foreign reserves moved to our accounts tonight alone. Ha ha ha. A masterpiece. I feel bad for Sunny, but it seems even she, hard worker that she is, didn't realize her subordinate bureaucrats were con artists." Yes, this was the true deal. Days before Takaichi's visit to the U.S. was decided, Trump and Xi had already joined hands. Trump pretends to go along with Takaichi's two China's theory and sells high-priced weapons to Japan, inventory clearance and profit for the military-industrial complex. Xi Jinping pretends to be furious on the surface, but behind the scenes cooperates with Trump to create a scheme to recover the financial assets Japan squeezes out to pay the bill. The US and China split Japan's wealth between them. "What are we doing about Taiwan, Xi?" Trump asked. "Let's let them swim for now. It's a goose that lays golden eggs. At least until Japan runs dry." Agreed. Business is the best. Epilogue. The next morning, Japanese news reported a historic depreciation of the yen and a massive stock market crash. Executives at the Ministry of Finance turned pale and wrote their letters of resignation. Prime Minister Takaichi called the White House, but she only reached the American voicemail service. "Hi, this is Donald. I'm golfing or having dinner with a friend from China. Leave a message. Make America great again." Takaichi looked out the window, still clutching the receiver. What lay there was not the dawn of two Chinas, but the twilight of a Japan that had been picked clean to the bone within the massive power game of the US, China, and Japan. There are deals not written in the history books, aren't there? The history books she loved served no purpose in the face of this modern nightmare. Japan would continue paying double rent to both the bouncer, America, and the landlord, China.